Hey guys, it's Mel. Welcome to my channel. So today I am going to do a 24-hour reading challenge. Just for myself, just because I feel like doing that. So I have actually got a few books that I'm currently reading and also one book that I'm planning on starting to read and see how far I get along with that. So I am almost finished Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I've got 3 or 4 chapters left. I'm buddy reading this with my friend Hayley from Hayley Reads, and I will link her channel in the description below and the little I above. It's really fantastic. I'm really enjoying it so far, and we just found out some information about the main character and her father and her history that is really intriguing. So yeah, as I said, Hayley and I have been buddy reading this. We've been reading about 3 or 4 chapters a day and messaging each other to see how we're both going with it. I've only got, like I said, a few more chapters left to go. I have ordered Starsight, the next one, Starsight from Book Depository, so it should be here hopefully reasonably soon, but I'm not sure if Hayley has it and if she's planning on getting it, so not sure about when we'll be continuing with the series, but anyway, I plan on finishing this one at some point in the next 24 hours. Then I have my e-reader, and I've actually borrowed City of Bones, which is the first Shadowhunters Mortal Instruments book by Cassandra Clare. So this is a book that I am also buddy reading. I'm buddy reading this with my friend Connor from BookTube. And we're trying to finish it in about 2 weeks, and I'm about halfway through at the moment, but I only have a day left on my loan, so I borrowed it via Overdrive on the state library website, so I have to finish this today. So I've just finished chapter 14, so yeah, I've got about 14 chapters left to go, so I've got to try and get this done hopefully today. So that will be what I'll be reading for the majority of the rest of the first 12 hours of my 24 hours. And I'm also on my phone listening to Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. I've listened to the first 2 chapters. It's amazing. It's really interesting. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's just fantastic. Over the next 24 hours, I'll need to go and do a little bit of shopping. I will listen to the audiobook Born a Crime. And also I've been really enjoying playing a game called City Skylines, and if I end up doing that, which I probably will end up doing at some point throughout the day, and possibly tomorrow, then I will also listen to Born a Crime on my phone. So I should say that City of Bones by Cassandra Clare I'm enjoying as well. Comparatively, I wouldn't say that I'm enjoying as much as I'm enjoying Skyward. I think this is a really well written. I think that City of Bones is quite well written, but I'm just not enjoying it as much, although I am still enjoying it. It's probably about the middle of the road for me, I think. I have to admit though that probably part of the reason for that is because I actually have watched about half of the first season of the Shadowhunters. It was okay. As a person who's watched a lot of different teen vampire type shows and movies, it's sort of middle of the road again, and it's a bit hard to compare when your favourite TV show is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I think is probably the best of that genre of TV show, so it's coloured a little bit. But like I said, I've only seen the first probably half a season, so I'm excited to get beyond the point where I continue comparing it and seeing what I think of it then. So that was City of Bones. And then, just got to find it, I am planning on starting and seeing how far I get into it in the next 24 hours. This book, which is The Nowhere Child by Christian White. I have mentioned this in a couple of recent videos, so I mentioned this in my recent book haul, and I also mentioned this in my big pile of books that I plan to read while I'm in isolation. But it just sounds really interesting and really intriguing. My friend Catherine gave it to me for my birthday, and ever since she gave it to me I've been really excited to read it. So I think this is a good 24-hour reading one. It is a thriller, mystery, and yeah, like I said, it just sounds really interesting and really intriguing. I don't know a huge amount about it apart from what is written on the blurb. Basically, it is about a woman who is visited by someone who is a private investigator, who thinks that she is a girl who went missing 20 or so years ago. So he thinks that she is someone that went missing or had been kidnapped. So she lives in Australia, and the girl that he thinks she is lives in the US. Yeah, so I think it sounds really, really interesting. It says that it inspired by Gillian Flynn and Stephen King, both of whom are obviously are fantastic thriller authors. Yeah, so I just think it sounds really, really fantastic. I had intended initially on reading this completely in the 24 hours and finishing it in the 24 hours, but then when I looked at my loans and realised that this one, City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, was due back really soon, I realised I really needed to read this one, so that one is the priority. And then this one also, which I'm reading a couple of chapters a day, so I need to read the next few chapters, and then also I'll start this as soon as I can. But in between, when I'm doing all of my various different things, and if I do play City Skylines, which I probably will, to be honest, I've been really enjoying doing that, I will listen to Porn or Crime. So those are the 4 books that I am planning on reading parts of, or listening to parts of, over the next 24 hours. It is almost midday, so I'm going to say that I start my 24 hours at midday on Tuesday the 14th of April, and I will finish it at midday on Wednesday the 15th of April. So that is all I will say for now, and I will be checking in with you guys throughout my 24 hours. I'm planning on vlogging it. I'll probably show some stuff of me reading, maybe even some stuff of me playing the games. But yeah, so that's all for now, and I'll talk to you in a little bit. Hello again. So it's 3:30 and I just had a little break, about half an hour long, and I made myself some lunch and ate my lunch while I watched a video. Yeah, so I had a half an hour break, and before that I was reading pretty solidly for 3 hours, and in that time I read another quarter of The City of Bones. So you would have just watched me saying how I wasn't enjoying it as much as some of the other books I've been reading recently, and partly that was because I had seen some of the first season of the Shadowhunters TV show, which I didn't like a huge amount. I didn't hate it by any means, but I didn't, you know, it was okay. I'm starting to enjoy this book a lot more now. I think I may have got up past the point that I already watched. I'm not 100% sure if that's true, although something just happened that I don't recall at all. It's been a while since I tried to watch the show. Yeah, so something just happened that I don't recall from the series, and also it was quite a surprise. I wasn't expecting it, and I really enjoyed it. Well, I expected it within a few pages of it happening, but I didn't see it coming. So yeah, I think that that's a good sign, because that proves that Cassandra Clare can write some suspenseful, interesting stuff. So I'm starting to enjoy it a lot more. I've got another 200 or so of these little e-reader pages to go, so I'm going to concentrate on doing that for the next little while, and then depending on how far I get into it, I'm hopefully finishing it in the next sort of few hours. But I do, as I said before, need to go and do a little bit of grocery shopping, which I'm a little bit nervous about, but I'm sure we're all feeling nervous about doing stuff like that these days, which in and of itself is somewhat weird. But anyway, so I'll see how much of this I get read before I end up going and doing that, but I'll catch up with you guys before I go down the road, and I will let you know how I'm going and what I'm thinking. I think I might now do a little bit of filming of my actual reading. I'm going to play some music through the TV while I do so. I'm going to lie on the couch, so I'll turn the camera around and get myself organised. But yeah, I'll play some music, but I'll probably end up playing a different lot of music while you watch that, because I don't have licensing. I'm just going to play through Spotify, but I don't have licensing to put that on YouTube. Anyway, that is what you will see in a moment. Hello again. So it is, do you know what time it is, Rowan? Oh, I've got my phone in my pocket, don't worry. So it's about 7:30 on Tuesday evening, and I finished City of Bones probably about an hour or so ago. Then Rowan very kindly made us some dinner, so we had a pause while we ate some dinner and hung out and watched a little bit of The Big Bang Theory. Because we're re-watching that at the moment. Anyway, so yeah, I finished City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, and I actually ended up really enjoying it. Still not, a favourite, but it's definitely better than I felt that it was to begin with. I thought that it was reasonably well written. I thought that it was reasonably interesting. I'd still say it was kind of middle of the road, maybe slightly higher, but yeah, it's still fun. It was still something that was enjoyable. So I'll have a few more thoughts about that in my wrap up because I've only just finished it, so I'll probably need to have a little bit more of a think on it. But yeah, so I'm not sure whether we'll read the next one. I'm sort of assuming that we will, but we haven't made any specific plans around that one. Now, I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually listen to Born a Crime by Trevor Noah on audiobook and play City Skylines, the computer game that I was talking about, for a little while. So yeah, I will check in with you guys a little later. Bye.
Alright, so this is that game that I told you about, City Skylines. Very similar to SimCity, if you know that at all. So what I am doing now is I am making a national park. So basically the idea behind this city is that you build the infrastructure like roads, and you zone areas, which I'm about to do in a minute, and then you basically just follow through and see how your citizens are going and what they want. People move in and move out again, they go to work, they do all that stuff by themselves, and you manage the overall city. So as you can see here, I'm doing some zoning, so I'm putting residential zone in, so that says where people can move into, and you basically just have to make sure that they're happy and they're enjoying living in your city. And there are little bars that tell you when you need more of certain things, like when you need more residential area or more industrial area. And at the moment I'm using a mod so I can create specific industry areas, which is really fun. I also have a mod where I can build university campus areas, and yeah, I just really enjoy the game, and I thought that you might like to see a little bit of how it all works and what it is that I was going on about. So anyway, back to the video.
Hello, I have switched to my phone, mostly because my camera is in the other room and I can't be bothered going to get it. Anyway, it is 11:45 and I am about a third of the way into Nowhere Child by Christian White, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really interesting and intriguing, and yeah, I'm really loving it. I might possibly read another chapter, but I'm not going to update you guys again for this evening, so I will catch up with you tomorrow.
Good morning. It is just after 8:30 on Wednesday morning, which means that I have got about 3.5 hours to do some more reading. So I've got my coffee since I've just gotten up. So, need to finish off Skyward. Like I said, I've only got a few chapters left, so I'll do that now. And then I'm going to read some more of Nowhere Child, because as you can see, I'm about a third of the way into it. Don't know if I'll get it finished by the 12 o'clock cutoff, but I think I'll certainly make a dent in it. So for those of you who may have been wondering how my shopping trip went, because I didn't mention it again yesterday, I actually realised that none of the things that I wanted to get were urgent enough for me to have to go yesterday, although I will go this afternoon once this 24-hour reading challenge is done. I just really didn't feel like it, and I wanted to finish off City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I hope everyone is having a really nice day. I'd love to know what you're doing with your Wednesday, how your reading is going, and I'll probably actually check in with you when I've finished Skyward. I don't think that will be that far away. And yeah, I'll talk to you in a minute. Hello again. It is about 1:30 and I have officially finished my 24-hour reading challenge. I actually finished at midday when I said that I would be finishing, but had a little break while I basically faffed around on the internet, and also while I had lunch and watched some Last Week Tonight with Rowan while he took a lunch break. Anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed the last 24-hour reading. I thought that it was a lot of fun. I hope that you guys are enjoying watching this video. And yeah, now I just want to wrap up my thoughts in general about, like I said, the experience and the books. So as you know, I finished reading, so I read half of City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I'm in the middle of writing and I'll finish it off as soon as I'm done videoing right now. A review on Goodreads, so if you want to know more about what I thought of that, I will link my Goodreads in the description below, along with my Twitter. So if you want to have a chat with me at all, please feel free to go and find me on either or both of those forums, and I'd love to chat with you. I haven't gone into any detail about what City of Bones is about because I figure, there goes Peanut, I figured that most people would probably know since it's a reasonably popular YA book, but it occurs to me for people who might be watching who may not know about the series, like my mum. Hi Mum. I thought that I should probably give you a bit of a rundown. So basically, City of Bones is the first book in the Mortal Instruments series, and it is about a young girl called Clary Frey. And Clary's mum goes missing one evening, and then her whole world gets turned upside down when she finds out a whole bunch of stuff about her mum and herself and her past that she didn't know previously. And she finds herself in the middle of a war, essentially, between shadow hunters and downworlders, shadow hunters being sort of demon hunters essentially, and downworlders being vampires and werewolves and witches and fairies and demons and all sorts of other kind of underworld creatures. So it's a paranormal urban fantasy series, young adult. I listened to some of Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. So for anyone that doesn't know, Trevor Noah is a South African comedian who lives now and works in the US. He was born and lived in South Africa under the last years of apartheid. His father is white, his mother is black, so he was born a crime, basically. And so the book talks about his life growing up in South Africa. I'm assuming at some point it will talk about something to do with him coming to America. I'm not really sure because I have only listened to the first couple of hours. So last night I listened to last night I listened to an hour and a half. I already had listened to half an hour. I'm really enjoying it. I like Trevor Noah as a comedian and I'm enjoying his book and he narrates it, so I'm really enjoying that. And I will go into more detail about that as part of my audiobook journey, which I will be filming and uploading next week. And then I started reading The Nowhere Child by Christian White. So last night I read the first 112 pages, so I read that much, and then this morning I read another 104 pages, so I read that much. So I'm just over halfway, so just under half to go, and I'm really, really enjoying it so far. So it starts with Kim, who is approached at her workplace by an American man set in Australia. So Kim is an Australian woman, and she is approached by an American man who tells her that he's investigating the cold case of a missing girl from 30 odd years ago, who went missing from her hometown when she was 2 years old, and he thinks that Kim is in fact that young girl. So that's how the book starts out. I'm not really spoiling anything because they tell you that in the first 2 pages. And then we go back and forwards. Each chapter is the past when the girl went missing, and then the present when Kim is dealing with the result of having found that out and looked into it. Yeah, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I think that it's really well written. I really like the mystery side of things. I like the different perspectives. When you go back in the past, you get lots of different perspectives from different people who are part of the family and around the family at the time. So I'm really enjoying that. I think that's really interesting. I really like the way that he is describing what Kim is experiencing, because obviously it would be quite weird for her. So I think it's really well done so far, and I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of it, which I might do this afternoon, or I might not do until tomorrow, because to be honest with you, as much as I love reading, 24 hours of reading almost non-stop, of course a few breaks for food and sleep, is a little bit much even for me, but I am enjoying it, so I might pick it up again. I'm just not quite sure. I do have a few things to do this afternoon, so we'll see. I did say that I was going to read the rest of Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, but then it occurred to me that I should probably check in with Hayley, who I'm buddy reading it with. Like I said, a link to her YouTube channel will be in the description below. But yeah, I thought that I should probably check in with her. I thought that she was ahead of me, but it turns out that I was ahead of her, so I'm glad that I checked in, because I like keeping up with each other, so I'm leaving off until basically I get the go-ahead from her. But I'm nearly done, so I'm really excited to finish it off. Again, for anyone that doesn't know, Skyward is about a young girl called Spencer. She's in her teens, and her father did something when she was a young girl that resulted both in his death and also in shame to her family. And so she's been living sort of under his shadow for a long time. And anyway, they live on another planet, and they have this aggressive enemy who kind of basically lives above them in the atmosphere and attacks semi-frequently. And so the most important people in this world are the fighters and the pilots, and Spencer desperately wants to be a pilot, partly because she wants to fly and partly so that she can kind of escape from under the shadow of her father. Again, I'm not giving any spoilers. Most of that was on the blurb or comes across in the first couple of pages. So, like I said, I really enjoyed this 24-hour reading challenge that I set for myself. So I do have some stats written in my reading journal from the last 24 hours. So yesterday on Tuesday when I started this, I read 538 pages. That obviously includes pages on this e-reader, which is quite small. Don't know how well you can see the page there, but in comparison, that's the Nowhere Child, which in itself is a reasonably small book, compared to something like this book by Garth Nix. It's quite little. So that's my sort of caveat. It doesn't, probably not as much as it sounds like when you take that into account. But anyway, yesterday I read 538 pages, including this book and the e-reader, and listening to some audiobook. That was at normal speed. I didn't speed it up or anything. And then today I read 104 pages. Included in that 24-hour period was 104 pages for today. So 2 of those books were young adult. One is a sci-fi young adult, one is a fantasy young adult, urban fantasy young adult, and this book is an adult mystery novel. So yeah, I think I read quite widely in terms of genre and also in terms of age ranges, and I feel like I read quite a bit, and like I said, I really enjoyed it. What have you been reading for the last 24 hours? Have you, like me, been doing any kind of challenge or been trying to read a lot, or have you found that you've been more interested in TV? Or I know that Animal Crossing is a very big thing at the moment. Are you playing Animal Crossing, and if so, are you enjoying it? I personally haven't got into Animal Crossing. I don't have a Switch, and by the time I thought to myself maybe that would be something that would be interesting, I had found out that most of the places that sell Switches were out of them. So I am contenting myself with City Skylines, which is fine because it's my favourite computer game to play at the moment. But yeah, comment below and let me know what you're reading or playing or watching. I'd love to know. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please comment and let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.